All right, next we're going to have the triceps. So similar to the biceps, we kind of see how the triceps originate here on the scapula. So in general, what that's going to mean is similar to the biceps, if we kind of orient the arm out this way and we kind of do our tricep extensions kind of more in this plane, it's going to isolate the triceps very well. One of the common ways people like to train the triceps is they kind of get in this overhead position here, and they'll do some kind of like skull crusher type movement. But the problem with that is when we do that, and the body generally doesn't want to move that way. So we end up having to pronate the hand. So this actually goes palms down. This kind of forces a lot of rotation here at the elbow, which the body doesn't really like to do. So we end up kind of doing a lot of our press down movements in this kind of like splayed elbow position. Which generally, same thing, can contribute to some elbow pains for some folks. But in terms of tricep training, that's going to generally align the forces right along the longitudinal axis of the muscle. We're generally going to look at some kind of like overhead tricep variation where we're kind of bringing the arm up to this overhead position, and then we're kind of extending along this path here. We're kind of going like mostly out to the side, angled a little bit towards the forward. Same thing, kind of staying in that scapular plane in that kind of like 30-degree angle. Or alternatively, we're kind of coming across the body this way with the arm. So we're bending the elbow, and then we're extending it out in this direction. And we're kind of keeping that line of pull basically either out here and here a little bit, as opposed to just trying to go purely in the sagittal plane where we're going straight forward and backwards. Remember, kind of trying to train in that overhead position is going to stretch out these long heads because you're stretching the muscle from this point and at this point on the insertion point. And then if you want to train kind of that shortened position of the biarticular head, you're going to extend the arm back behind the body a little bit more, as you would see like in a kickback or something like that. Downside of the kickback is similar to a lot of other exercises that I would consider not as effective, is you don't get a very smooth force profile with those. Usually when people do them, they don't get anything hardly from this range of motion to this range of motion, and then it gets super hard at the top. So usually we want to angle the force so it's kind of pointed at 30 or like 45-degree angle this way. Allows the triceps to be able to generate force kind of through like the whole range of motion without super sharp peaks at any point of that range of motion. But it's generate a lot of force in some parts and almost no force in other parts. Isolated tricep exercises are going to be some of the best ones, but if you don't have those, just about any pressing variation is going to train the triceps very well. Includes any kind of like dips, especially any kind of like close grip pressing, overhead pressing, that kind of stuff. Those are all decent tricep exercises. But you're always going to get, and you kind of see this with a lot of the limb training, especially so whether it's like biceps, triceps, hamstrings, sometimes the quads, depending on what you pick for your compound exercises, but you're generally going to get a little bit better development of those limb musculature by isolating the muscle actions.